Now, there is a fresh warning today against throwing away old electrical equipment such as phones and tablets because their batteries could catch fire or explode. Fire services say they're dealing with an increasing number of fires caused by items that weren't disposed of properly. Our reporter Harriet Bradshaw has this report.
This is a test to show what can happen when you crush or penetrate a large lithium-ion battery. Even smaller batteries than this one can cause huge fires if they're thrown into the general waste instead of properly being recycled. The results can be ferocious. This waste transfer site fire at Herne Hill in London took days to put out. The cause? The fire service concluded most likely a lithium-ion battery setting alight, and not suspicious.
It was a really scary experience for all of us. The sky was yellow. You could smell this horrible, horrible smell of burning chemicals and plastic. We had to close our windows. During a heat wave, we were stuck in our homes. And eventually we decided to leave our home because our 2-year-old daughter was coughing and her cough was getting worse. We didn't know if it was caused by the smoke from this hideous fire.
Now, Imperial College London's new research has found there was a significant spike in air pollution during this fire.
So this is just another example of where air pollution is being affected negatively. And it's something that we don't need. We need to be reducing the release of pollution into there, not increasing it.
And the problem is growing, according to the National Fire Chiefs Council, which says fire services are dealing with increasing incidents involving incorrectly disposed of batteries, which can alight in bin lorries and rubbish and recycling centres.
And they're a really big challenge to the fire and rescue service. They cause really unpredictable, really prolonged, protracted fires, and the results can be really catastrophic with the types of toxic gases that go into the atmosphere, the types of water runoff that will go into the water systems, and of course the smoke that can affect our local communities. So it's something that's a real focus for the National Fire Chiefs Council, and I'd really urge households, families to really think hard about how they recycle those electrical items.
Mark Andrews admits it's not just down to the public, but retailers and manufacturers have a responsibility too. But the advice for customers is to recycle electricals responsibly to avoid the ferocious risks of these waste fires. Harriet Bradshaw, BBC News.
With us in the studio here, along with some stuff with batteries in it, is Scott Butler, who's from Recycle Your Electricals, the campaign group. Now, Scott, just to be absolutely clear with people, the alarm bells are ringing of a crushed battery items, aren't they? This is not to suggest that the things that you've got here, we've got a toothbrush, a phone, they in themselves, that's not the risk we're talking about, as in they might catch fire. This is when they are disposed of and crushed.
Yes, so in use, these things are perfectly safe and they're amazing. The lithium-ion battery is an amazing thing that gives us portability with all of our tech. What we're saying is if they go into the wrong place, which is the bin, either the kitchen bin or a public bin, then it's very likely that they'll go onto a bin lorry where they could be crushed, and that's when the issue arises with, particularly with lithium-ion technology. So we've got batteries hidden inside all of this stuff, some of them different chemistries, but essentially we should never be binning batteries, we should never be binning electricals with batteries inside of them, we should never be binning electricals full stop.
And we saw, didn't we, at the beginning of that report a moment ago, some very dramatic images of what can happen if something is crushed.
Yeah, when they go big. So that's the thing. And also, they're often surrounded by combustible material. So if they're in a waste truck, it's paper, cardboard and other things. If they're at a waste site, it's everything that's there. And the worst case scenario would be surrounded by other lithium-ion batteries as well, which would go big. So we've seen an increase in fires across the UK, 700 when we last did the survey, 1,200 last year. 90% of the local authorities we've surveyed have said that an increase in battery-related waste fires. So essentially, let's get the public not putting them in the bin and putting them into recycling facilities instead.
Sorry, I just exclaimed because I saw those pictures. I actually saw one of the guys who was trying to sorting, being actually hit by a battery that had been ignited and literally flown across the room. How are they going to stop this? Because not everyone does dispose. I mean, we've got some, like, vapes, remote control. Not everyone thinks that there's a battery in there. I know it's obvious if you do kind of think about it, but then you don't. And so particularly like things like vapes, things that people think are disposable, or even earbuds, where you think, OK, I've had them for years and they're not working, one's not working, I'll chuck them away. They don't think. And so how can councils or recycling centres or, you know, tips figure out where they are? They're not going to sift through everything, are they?
Well, the good news is there is a lot of solutions to this. So it's recycle your electricals. We've got a postcode locator, 22,000 drop-off points.
If people don't do it, if people are still putting it into their kitchen bin or something.
Yeah, well, we talk about it. That's why we're doing this. This campaign is highlighting that there's a fire issue related to electricals. There's a big environmental issue. Some of the most valuable materials on the planet are inside of the electricals. We value them when we use them. They give a lot of contribution to our lives. So let's value them when we don't need them and make sure that the material is recovered.
But there's a lot of onus on the consumer now to be more responsible in terms of this, because there aren't the facilities to sift through and find these batteries.
Well, there are more than most people think at the moment, and we're growing them all the time. Producers are legally required to pay for the cost of recycling them. So we as consumers can deliver stuff to them, and that's making it easier all the time. We have other activities where we're funding projects to add curbside collections, more retailer collections. We've got some amazing bright pink bring banks on the streets. We've got 21 of them in Brighton, for example, at the moment, and rolling those out as well. So it's talking about this, trying to make recycling of electricals and of batteries as common as it is plastic bottles, glass bottles.
Do you know what I'm thinking, Scott? If someone listening to you right now, and they're, I don't know, it might be the bin day on Monday or whatever, and they know they've got some batteries. Say some of the, you know, the ones everyone's got, some AAA batteries or whatever, and they've got a bunch of them because they've cleared out some stuff. And they're sorting out their bins, and they go, I know where to put the paper and the metals and whatever. What do they do with the batteries? If they haven't got access to a car and they've looked up and there's a thing, a little way, what do you do?
Well, on that website, Recycle Your Electricals, it flags whether you've got curbside collections. So around 20% of the country do have curbside collections.
For
electricals and batteries. They're just not aware of it because it's not being communicated to them. Around 20% of the UK.
It's
but
not
only...
a lot, is it?
Yeah, no, it's rolling out all the time. For batteries, everywhere that sells a battery should be taking back batteries. For vapes, everywhere that sells a vape should be taking back. Other research we've done says nobody is doing that, but more and more should be doing that.
I didn't. So if I went to my local shop,
yeah,
bought a pack of AA or AAA batteries,
they should have a battery recycling point there for you.
So, and the supermarkets have them?
Yeah, they should do.
And if you go to a vape shop or something like that and you buy vapes, they should take them back as well?
Yeah, and research that we did about a month or two ago revealed that only 10% of those who were selling vapes at the time were offering that. And it's the same for electricals too. So you've got some retailers who will take back electricals regardless of whether you buy a new one. Some of them are offering incentives, vouchers off money off buying new purchases as well. And we're just trying to, as you said, what can we do about this? We're increasing the volume, talk about it, make it normal.
If you want to be a good consumer, good to the environment and protect workers, basically, who are at risk, can you go to a shop that sells batteries and say, I've got a load of batteries, you have to take them?
Yeah.
They have to take them.
They've had to take them for over 10 years.
So even if they don't offer it, haven't got it advertised, you can say you have to take it.
Yeah, and put that pressure on. It's the same with, the consumer pressure often, it's not legislation that drives that behaviour change. It's actually what we do and say, we want you to help us do our bit. We want you to meet your ESG, sustainability statements. Help me do my bit for the environment by doing what you are legally required to do.
Scott, it's all good information. I think we've all learned a thing or two. Don't forget your toothbrush. Isn't that what they say?
It is.
That is your toothbrush.
Well done. Were you building up to that?
I've been thinking about it all the way
I could tell.
Give him it. He has few wins.
It's yours. You won.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott Butler, from Recycle Your Electronics. And if you look on the website, you can see...
Recycle Your Electricals.
Your electricals. Recycle Your Electricals, and you can look there and to see where those...
Yeah, you'll see a mad, sort of hypnotic pink cat. Don't get disturbed by that. He's there to hypnotise you into recycling your electricals.
Perfect.